I wanna fly high up to the sky. I'm living in the mountains. Everybody know the soil so fertile. If a man sit down naked, the seeds might grow. A delightful getaway from the hustle, bustle and tricks. Oh, what a natural fix if you don't like to mix with the politics. One issue I have to resolve. If I could sort it out, all problems solved. Every time I plant corn and it start to shoot, some idiot keep forking it out the root. Make country flowers in there, fork it up. Make country producing there, fork it up. Country start to blossom. I don't know who or where they come from. Me blind neighbor say he saw a man resembling one of them politicians. I wasn't there, so I didn't see exactly who talking up me country. Riding on me donkey, transportation bliss. Me fireside bubbling a goodie. I hear rioting in the gas crisis. Surrounded by wild animals. What a vicious pack. But none of them does launch an attack. None of them poison us like Imbert and Sat. The hunt always on, I could say that much. And true, can switch it off like crime watch. My mission now is to put a stop to whosoever fucking me country up. Some say a man named Eric, George, Robbie and Patrick. Some say Capildeo, Paris, Kamla Basteo. Old man Bedu said this ain't nothing new. They fucking up long before 1962. If Butler was around, he might have tell we directly who fucking up me country.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome once again to the Rebuttal. I'm Douglas Wattley, your host. As always, it's good to be with you on a Wednesday evening. I'm glad that you have taken time out of your busy schedule to be with us this evening and share in the rebuttal with you. If you're in St. Kitts and Nevis, I'm glad to have you. If you're in the St. Kitts Nevis diaspora, I'm especially pleased that you will tune in this evening. It's budget time in St. Kitts, but I'm not going to talk too much about the budget this evening. I want to leave that until next week, at which point in time I hope to have had time to look at the budget, the estimates, and also the Director of Audit report. There's one or two things I want to say this evening, but the bulk of what I want to look at would be next week. But I want to start off with the issue of Carnival and Calypso. Over the past several years, 5 or so years, Carnival was in the hands of a lunatic. Quite frankly, I've had dealings with the guy, and I conclude that he had no good. And in my estimation, he ran amok at the Carnival institution over the past 5 years. And a lot of people cried out for a change. They were in uproar because they thought that what he was doing to Carnival in St. Kitts was not in the best interest of Carnival lovers in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. And one of the things I know about him is that he does not listen. He thinks that he has the best ideas and no one has anything to contribute. Now, that's all of us to some extent. But he took that to another level. And so a lot of people cried out because Carnival was taking a dive, a fast dive to the bottom of a bottomless pit, if you will. And people were worried that we were killing part of our national culture. And so with the re-election of Team Unity and the repositioning of some of the portfolios, new people were brought in to run Carnival. Now, from what I can see at this point in time, I think that they're doing a credible job. I think the visual from the virtual Carnival so far is good. I like it. But I want to talk about Calypso and Carnival. You see, because Calypso has for a long time been the object of interest of politicians. And under past administration, and certainly under this administration, politicians have taken an interest in Carnival, particular Calypso, and as such have influenced the outcome of Calypso competitions over the years. And I'm afraid that it continues. In the recent semifinals, I looked at the semifinals and then I looked at the list of persons who were initially made finalists to go up against Socrates. And I was amazed at the fact that one participant in particular was excluded. And when I asked what happened, they said she bust. That was Queenie G. They said she bust. But I listened. You see, I didn't see the start, I must admit. But I listened and looked at her performance. And except that her voice cracked here and there, I thought, she was excellent. And so I was surprised. But then when they told me that she bust, initially I thought, okay, maybe she repeat a line or something like that. But that is no reason to eliminate somebody from a competition. But they say she bust. And so I inquired. Now full disclosure, she's my friend. I like her. I like her a lot. Think she's a very intelligent individual. Now, when they told me that is bust, she bust, and that is the reason she was eliminated, I said that can't make no sense. That cannot make a lick of sense. So I went and I looked at the scores. And I noticed that the person who got the highest score got 393, I think, points. And then the person who had the lowest score had 332 points. That's a difference of 61 points. And so I thought, what you want to tell me? Because what I understand was that she asked the band to start over. If you ask the band to start over and you had not yet gone into the song, I don't see nothing wrong with that. You are actually judging the performance once she got going, once she's satisfied that the band has done justice to the opening and she can sing the song. But they say, all right, Chibos. So you telling me that for that, you were going to deduct somewhere in the region of 60 or more points from the individual? That makes sense to you? Come on. I heard the other Calypsonians, and even if Queenie G went up and said, rah, rah, way, woo, a lot of them couldn't place ahead of her. So now you're going to tell me a slight mishap and she's eliminated, because to eliminate her means that she would have had to score less than 232. The person who got the highest score got 393. So somewhere in there, she couldn't score anywhere between 332 and 393. So it means you deducted something in the region of 60 something points for that. Here's what I think about the judging. For one, I say from day one, I don't understand how in a national carnival all the judges got to be from Bastia. That doesn't make sense. None from Nevis, none from the countryside. That makes absolutely no sense. All this thing got to cut out. It is the way we have done things for years. It got to stop. Have people in the positions representing the country, Nevis, St. Kitts, not Nevis, and Bastia, or not just Bastia alone. And so that's one of the things that has always bothered me, because in St. Kitts we present carnival as if it is a Bastia event. It is not. And let's face it, a bunch of us come from country, come up in town to make carnival what it is. But you're not represented in the decision making. You're not represented with the judges. I mean, it's true you had a carnival director, or whatever you call him, there from Sandy Point, and he didn't, Lord, represent us that well. But there ain't no reason not to use people representing the country to include Nevis. So that's one of the problems I have had and I continue to have. But also, you mean to tell me all these years we're judging Calypso? We have a criteria, but don't you have some guidelines? So for instance, if you're in gymnastics and you perform a routine and say you bubble a little bit, lose a little balance, you ain't gonna take off 5 points. No, there's a guideline. And it would tell you for that you take off a mandatory 1/10 of a point or something like that. Calypso has to be down to that level by now. So for instance, if an individual has a hard start with the band and the band has to continue, I'm not saying that you're not going to deduct any points, but there has to be some guidelines. It's like with prison in the legal arena. There are guidelines for certain crimes. So if in terms of sentences, so if you commit a particular crime, you ain't gonna just get 20 years at the whim and fancy of the judge. No, certain crimes carry certain punishment. There are guidelines. Same thing you should have by now in Carnival and Calypso. So if a person sang out of key for a verse, you know that you could take off 1/10 of a point. You understand? If they start before the band or start before they should start, you take off another 1/10 of a point or something like that. But how are you going to take off 60 something plus points just because somebody asked the band to restart? That makes sense to you? It can't make sense. You have to have certain guidelines, certain parameters within which you are going to score an individual's performance. And you know, excuse me, you know what that does? It allows for a level of consistency. And it prevents all these outliers. And so no one individual can come up with no crazy score. So if you don't yet have those guidelines, I say, sit down with the Calypsonians, sit down with all the stakeholders, and determine a set of guidelines that would augment the criteria for judging Calypso in St. Kitts. But that ain't really what I want to get at, I said earlier that I am personally impressed with the work done by the Carnival Committee. Except one thing. Why would you use Maitland as the auditor for the Calypso competition? You should know by now the relationship between Maitland and the Harris family. You should know by now the relationship between Maitland and the Prime Minister. So why would you use Maitland as the auditor? Because I'm willing to argue, that rudimentary mistake that they claim they made should disqualify them as auditors. You see, maybe what you didn't realize, is that these boys are using Maitland as a way to interfere, to meddle with the Calypso competition. So that is why I say go back. Find out the relationship, business and otherwise, between Timo and Maitland. And I'm going to tell you a little story. Why I'm suspicious. You remember that we had been fighting, still fighting, with Timo because there are a number of us who strongly objected to the fact that he failed to account for campaign funds for PLP. Yes, I'm still on that. Well, when we used to meet separate from Tim to discuss how we're going to address the matter, one day I walked into the meeting and I saw Maitland. And I say, all right, I don't really know what's going on. But we had the discussion. Nothing about the discussion I would be worried about, right? We know what the issues were. We discussed the issues and how we're going to deal with them. And then I realized, with Maitland and Tim tighter. And then I start to hear that they might be in business together. And then I realized that he started to get certain benefits from Team Unity and Tim. I said to myself, Maitland was a spy. Maitland was in the meeting there spying for Tim. So whatever was said in that meeting had to be taken back to Tim. It had to be. Why would Maitland, knowing his allegiance to Tim, come to a meeting like that if it weren't that he was going to go back and tell it him? Why would he do that? And so I want you all to find out certain things. Find out who is the accountant for a lot of those businesses around, security business, etc., that lead back to Timo. Find out who doing the accounts. And that is why I say Maitland ought not be used as the audit or auditor for Calypso. If only because the rudimentary mistake he made is an embarrassment to the Carnival Committee. And I would like to know who gave them that name? Who told them to use Maitland? Lot of audit firms around, but who tell them to use Maitland? You see, nothing might happen because a lot of us, once we get in, we ain't gonna upset the apple cart. So now you're gonna say we can't use Maitland because you think that it is an offense to Timo and that you are going to be denied certain things you want. And that is the problem with us. None of we want to stand up for good. None of we want to stand up for what's right. None of us. I was reading some posts and so today while looking at the presentation by the Right Honorable Dr. Denzel Douglas in Parliament. And people still say, oh, Douglas used to do this. Well, Douglas used to do it, Douglas mean wrong. So if Douglas mean wrong and you tell him he wrong, and you used to abuse him and say he wrong, how come he right now? That can't make no sense. And so I just want to close out this segment by saying to the Carnival Committee, keep your business clean. Now I know it is not 100% and it cannot be 100% free from political interference because you are an arm of the government. But for as much as possible, don't let them mix you up in no commerce. Don't let them mix you up in no melee. Change the auditor. Because that is how they intend to interfere with the Calypso competition. And you saw it firsthand. You saw them do it firsthand. Take it from me. It'll be better for you if you go and get a non-aligned or at least a more objective auditor for the Calypso competition. But apart from that, like I said, I like what I see. I don't find the Calypsos are of any high standard. I suspect that maybe because they thought there wouldn't have been any competition and so a lot of people didn't focus on writing any Calypsos. There are some good ones, but there are a lot of them that don't what appear seed. But all in all, keep going. Do your thing. Avoid the political interference. I'm going to pause here, then we'll come back.
I love being in related style and dress fine, or should I say classy. That is why I shop at First Class next to the taxi stand at Port Sante for fine gold and silver jewelry in precious, semi-precious and colored stones, diamonds and crystal watches, and the hottest handbags and wallets. And when I want to buy a gift for someone, that's easy too. I just ask them to make me a gift basket, and First Class has the best prices at Port Zante. So no matter what the occasion, come on into First Class and leave happy, knowing you've gotten the best deal for your money. It's First Class at Port Zante, where quality, low prices, and top-notch service are second to none.
Spread the word. New and exclusive every Sunday from 6 a.m. to 1 p.m. It's the Gospel Cafe with Carl D. Springate on KYSS FM 102.5. Tune in and connect with the Holy Ghost Connection with live interviews, Christian news, what's hot and what's not, in the now. Birthdays and anniversary shout-outs available, Bible Jeopardy, Beyond the Pulpit, and positive entertainment and ministry. Testimonies and the pastor's moment with Spread the Word. So tune in as we drop the latest gospel hits, 100% black. It's the Carl D. Springate Gospel Cafe, Sundays from 6 a.m. to 1 p.m. on KYSSFMonline.com and 102.5 FM. And be blessed like that.
One fashion accessories for really low prices. Check silver and cents. Check silver and cents. Beauty supplies and weave, genuine fragrances. Check silver and cents. Check silver and cents. Handbags so beautiful, your friends will envy how you look. With perfume to smell just right, you'll feel like you're in paradise. Watches, silver jewelry, and hair accessories. Check silver and cents in the Amri Mall on Keon Street.
Ready or not, hear my clothes, can't hide. Gonna find you and make you want me.
Ain't nobody tell me nothing. Can't tell me nothing.
I'm Shaniel Francis. Kyssfm 102.5 is proud to announce its brand new morning show, Backchat, the only place to hear the hottest music.
I'm local.
Check me area code, direct me area code. Anywhere me go, you know me touch the
To international.
Ay, I go shopping, want it then I cop it. Ay, yeah, bitches popping, I do what they copy.
And have you informed with a range of topics.
So on Mondays to Fridays, tune in at 8 to 11.
You won't want to miss the vibes on
Backchat.
Ready or not, hear my clothes.
I wanna fly high up to the sky. I'm living in the mountains. Everybody knows the soil so fertile. If a man sit down naked, the seeds might grow. A delightful getaway from the hustle, bustle and tricks. Oh, what a natural fix if you don't like to mix with the politics. One issue I have to resolve. If I could sort it out, all problems solved. Every time I plant corn and it start to shoot, some idiot keep forking it out the root. Make country flowers in it, fork it up. Make country produce in it, fork it up. Country start to blossom. I don't know who or where they come from. Me blind neighbor say he saw a man resembling one of the politicians. I wasn't there, so I didn't see exactly who talking up me country.
Welcome back to the Rebuttal. I'm Douglas Wattley, your host. Now, I don't know if you all notice that the government has just sought to privatize Skellig. Well, it's not done in a transparent way. They ain't tell you that. What they did tell you is that the government is in a relationship with a company from outside of St. Kitts, and that company would set up a solar farm which would be able to produce somewhere in the region of 35 megawatts of power. But St. Kitts has a need for about 24 megawatts. What that means? It means that this company, via its solar farm, would be able to generate or produce solar energy in sufficient amount to provide for the needs of St. Kitts. Prior to this, the government or Skelec generated power at the Need Must plant. All right? Now you have some people coming and they have put in a project and then they would do what you used to do at Need Must. All right? I have not seen or heard anything that says that this company is going to take over the maintenance of the transmission lines that transmit power from a source to your homes. I suspect that that would continue to be carried out by Skelec. I suspect that the administrative functions would continue to be carried out by Skelec. But the money that you will pay for the energy that you receive will more than likely go to the company that generates the energy, that generates the power. Now look what government gonna try to do. Government gonna try to make sure that the money you pay has a surcharge which would go to pay the administrative staff, right? And those people maintaining the lines. And I'm not sure that it's gonna turn out to be a good deal for those of us who are gonna be paying for power. These people are gonna want to make back that 70 million that they supposedly are putting into the power to the project, you know. So they're gonna want 70 million plus profit. Yes, they got to make money, you know. And they have a captive customer base. The people of St. Kitts, the businesses in St. Kitts, they all need power to run their households and to run their businesses. And so that's a captive customer base. People must want power and people must buy power. Now, I am thinking that one of the things people around St. Kitts would probably have to start thinking about is bringing in their own solar panels and generating their own power to power their households and their businesses. I'm thinking that that's one of the things you guys are going to think. I know there are some persons right now who are off the grid. There are persons in St. Kitts right now who generate enough power so that they don't necessarily have to pay for it. They have to remain connected, and so they have to maintain the meter and all of that. They have to pay something, but some businesses, for instance, that would have been paying exorbitant fees for electricity have put in solar and they don't have to anymore. Some of you are going to have to think about that. Think about it as a business investment which would pay off in the long run. In fact, it's a business investment that if you do it right could start paying off immediately. And I'm telling you, the technology keeps improving day by day. And so it gets more efficient. It becomes more effective as a way to replace the power generated and sold to you by government. See, what government going to try to do now is to pass laws to prohibit people from setting up their solar energy system, or they're going to tax it heavily to prohibit you from bringing in yours. You understand? But that is the problem when you privatize the system. Because now you privatize the system, you are going to be pressured to protect the system. Because if, let's say, 25% of the households in St. Kitts would get solar, that's 25% of the customer base for this company. And as such, they would not be able to count on the payments from those 25% households. And that wouldn't be profitable unless they are forced to increase the rates to exorbitant levels. And that would be difficult for the other 75% of the customer base. And that they're now going to reach out to the government and say, hey, look, we put some $70 million in this place, and so we need some protection. And that is why, quite frankly, if you ask me, I wouldn't have gone that route. Power and energy is something, in my estimation, my judgment, should be run by some aspect of government. Because there has to be some measure of subsidy. Or, in this case, if you can generate clean energy efficiently and least costly, right? Then you pass the benefit on to the people. That is what government does. I am telling you, it ain't all hunky-dory when you go and you privatize that industry. I know the former government had entertained ideas about that, and I don't know why they changed their mind. But I know they had entertained ideas about privatizing Skellek and them, and they eventually went with a format that kept Skellek in the hands of the people of the government. And I'm saying $70 million ain't no load of money to set up a farm, a solar farm. And so government could have done that itself. Government could have borrowed money and do that, because it would have made it back. And it would have been in a position to pass on some savings to its people. But I'm going to tell you something. When you see people coming into St. Kitts with them kind of projects there, money to pass, A former financial secretary told me, he said, Wattley, let me tell you something. Whenever you see them kind of projects there with those kind of money to pass. People don't get bribed. People don't get bribed for a lot less than that. And so there is absolutely no doubt in my mind that on a good day, if you push me When I even got a hold of a gun to my head, if you push me hard, I'm going to say money pass. Some fella's bank account look good just about now. I'm going to tell you a little extra. There's a fella from Old Road named Bailey, live in the States. I apologize if you didn't want me to call his name, but Bailey would always come saying, and Bailey was a favorite for the girls. Bailey, after the government change in 2015, Bailey had a notion about this same project in mind. They got Bailey running up and down, in and out. Bailey can't get them to accept his project proposal. And you know what I hear? I hear that they take Bailey project proposal and use it to go out and find their own people. You see, Bailey from Old Road. Bailey not supposed to make no money. You know why? Maybe Bailey wouldn't pay them no bribe. Because Bailey, in my estimation, is a decent man. The girls love him because, he takes care of the ladies. But nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. They took Bailey's proposal and they used it as a template to get this particular business. Y'all understand what I'm telling you? Bailey used to be back and forth. I know the people don't know what I'm talking about. Bailey used to be in and out of agriculture trying to get land and all. Al Edwards could tell you about that. And then all of a sudden, boom, you bring a project with some white people. They look white. I might be wrong, but they look white. But in any case, they are not nationals. I don't even know if they are citizens by investment. Maybe by now, they don't give them that. But here is what I say. Here's what I'm saying. Understand that for all intents and purposes, Skelec is now a private company. You understand what I'm saying? I rest my case on that note.
I love being in the latest style and dress fine, or should I say classy. That is why I shop at First Class next to the taxi stand at Port Sante for fine gold and silver jewelry in precious, semi-precious and colored stones, diamonds and crystal watches, and the hottest handbags and wallets. And when I want to buy a gift for someone, that's easy too. I just ask them to make me a gift basket, and First Class has the best prices at Port Sante. So no matter what the occasion, come on into First Class and leave happy, knowing you've gotten the best deal for your money. It's First Class at Port Sante, where quality, low prices, and top-notch service are second to none.
Spread the word. New and exclusive every Sunday from 6 a.m. to 1 p.m. It's the Gospel Cafe with Carl D. Springate on KYSS FM 102.5. Tune in and connect with the Holy Ghost Connection with live interviews, Christian news, what's hot and what's not in the now. Birthdays and anniversary shout-outs available, Bible Jeopardy, Beyond the Pulpit, and positive entertainment and ministry. Testimonies and the pastor's moment with Spread the Word. So tune in as we drop the latest gospel hits, 100% flat. It's the Carl D. Springate Gospel Cafe, Sundays from 6 a.m. to 1 p.m. on KYSSFMonline.com and 102.5 FM. And be blessed like that.
One fashion accessories for really low prices. Check silver and cents. Check silver and cents. Beauty supplies and weave, genuine fragrances. Check silver and cents. Check silver and cents. Handbags so beautiful, your friends will envy how you look. With perfume to smell just right, you'll feel like you're in paradise. Watches, silver jewelry, and hair accessories. Check silver and cents in the Amri Mall on Day on Street.
Ready or not, hear my clothes, can't hide. Gonna find you and make you want me.
Ain't nobody tell me nothing. Can't tell me nothing.
I'm Shaniel Francis. Kyssfm 102.5 is proud to announce its brand new morning show, Backchat, the only place to hear the hottest music.
I'm local.
Check me area code, direct me area code. Anywhere me go, you know me touch the
To international,
Ay, I go shopping, want it then I cop it. Ay, yeah, bitches popping, I do what they copy.
And have you informed with a range of topics.
Tell me nothing.
so on Mondays to Fridays, tune in at 8 to 11.
Tell me nothing.
You won't want to miss the vibes on
Backchat.
ready or not, hear my clothes.
I wanna fly high up to the sky. I'm living in the mountains. Everybody knows the soil so fertile. If a man sit down naked, the seeds might grow. They're delightful getaway from the hustle, bustle, and tricks. Oh, what a natural fix if you don't like to mix with the politics. One issue I have to resolve. If I could sort it out, all problems solved. Every time I plant corn and it start to shoot, some idiot keep barking it out the root. Make country flowers in it, bark it up. Make country produce in it, bark it up. Country start to blossom. I don't know who or where they come from. Me blind neighbor say he saw a man resembling one of the politicians. I wasn't there, so I didn't see exactly who barking up me country.
Welcome back to the Rebuttal. We are going to close out just about now, but I wanted to share something with you before I go. Now, I know that you have heard the name Peter Nygaard, and especially his name was in the news yesterday and today. Peter Nygaard was arrested yesterday in Canada, and he is to be held in custody until he's extradited to the United States. And he's held on some serious charges, similar charges to the infamous Jeffrey Epstein, who ultimately hung himself or was probably murdered, whichever one. Now I want you to listen to the commentary about Peter Nygaard. Listen, and then I will close out the show just after you listen to this bit of tape that I'm going to play in a little bit.
Peter Nygaard appeared in court this afternoon, shackled and disheveled. He didn't say anything. American authorities asked the RCMP to arrest Nygaard, which they did Monday night. The Mounties say Nygaard is a danger to the community and a serious flight risk. In a sworn affidavit, the Mounties say they'd been watching a $1 million home in a Winnipeg neighborhood for 5 days and arrested the 79-year-old fashion designer after seeing him peek out of a window. The news comes as a relief to his son Kai.
Just absolutely thrilled to find out that he's going to have to face a trial and go through the judicial process and not be able to just take off and with a pot of money offshore somewhere.
Nygaard hosted so-called pamper parties at some of his homes, as well as poker games and dinners. In court documents filed in Winnipeg on behalf of the U.S., the FBI says those were ways he would get to his victims. The FBI calls Nygaard a predator, and they allege he sexually assaulted dozens, if not hundreds of women and girls over a 25-year period, and used company resources and staff to help him. Greg Gutzler's New York law firm filed a class action lawsuit against Nygaard in February. It was put on hold in August so that the FBI could complete its investigation. The lawsuit also alleged co-conspirators and enablers helped Nygaard commit his crimes.
There was a system in place, and there were dozens or hundreds of people involved in this thing.
Peter Nygaard has been remanded into custody in Winnipeg and is expected to apply for bail before his next court hearing in January. He has said through his lawyer the allegations against him are all lies. Caroline Bargood, CBC News, Winnipeg.
No, Epstein was the guy who bought out some of our politicians in St. Kitts. And he may have paid some public servants as well. And the reason he did that was to set up an illegal stem cell operation or business at the JNF. And a lot of people did not know what was going on. We know that the Prime Minister knew what was going on. We know that the Minister of Health knew what was going on. But when the Chief Medical Officer, the then Chief Medical Officer, Dr. Martin, found out what was happening and recognized that it was illegal, Dr. Martin intervened as he should have. And with the support of Mrs. Kanda, he put a stop to the project. And for that, he was castigated, dragged in the mud by the Prime Minister, and then fired by Wendy Phipps and Timo. Dr. Martin did his job, but he was punished for it. That can't be good. It can't be right. And them people there can't meet good. You know how I know they can't meet good? Because as we speak, some of them home right now, home alone, drinking whiskey, going to bed drunk. And some of them can't sleep because they got to stay up all night wondering who thieving the money that they themselves thief. Do good, good gonna follow you. Isn't that the saying? On that note, I'm gonna call it a night. You all stay safe. Christmas coming. Season's greetings. I hope all you keep well. And I'll talk to you again next week, God willing. You all take care. You hear? Good night.
Yes! That's the man Big Lies again. 2020 Virtual Carnival. With me and Mark Wattley. How you doing, my boy? I hear Neve is nice. Ma'am, my Neve is friend, ma'am. Jamie, share the live, share the live. Just one Facebook live session served to capture the nation's attention. This surprise reaction points to a thirst for information. Whenever there is rumor, one has to counter. Balance and truth always matter. When it's your reputation that's called into question, silence is never an option. We want to know, Timo, we want to know why you continue to undermine Maxo. We want to know, Timo, we want to know. Are you subtly telling Nevis they got to go? Tell us why should they accept your ongoing disrespect? always interfering without informing. You well know that Mark is in charge, but you think you're larger than large. How did you get so, Mr. Timo? We want to know. How did you get so, Mr. Timo? We want to know. Ooh, Calypso man. They're gonna try all kind of things. They have their bully people on Facebook, hiding behind all kind of fake profiles. But tell them we're not afraid of them. Hey, paying them all kind of money. You use your bully pulpit, trying your very best to discredit, calling into question many a person's reputation. Honest men and women have been made to defend their good reputation, while on social media persons of dishonor spreading lies and propaganda. So we want to know, Timo, we want to know why you, Wallace and Andre does lie so. We want to know, Timo, we want to know where exactly did their campaign money go? Your threat of legal action was just a mere distraction. Meanwhile, hoping that we will forget about the money. But when we see your portfolio of properties start to overflow, how did you get so, Mr. Timo? We want to know. How did you get so, Mr. Timo? We want to know. Yeah, man! Kyssfm! Franklin Brand, Gene Conda, what going on? Saman Dwyer, ungratefulness worse than witchcraft. When one looks at your history, it's clear you have issues with loyalty. Because while in opposition, where did you turn for inspiration? I could well remember Franklin Brand and Gene Conda making sure you were looked after. But since you came to power, you have nothing to offer. Now it's just you, family and brother. So we want to know, Timo, we want to know how on earth you turn ungrateful soul. We want to know, Timo, we want to know. Not even Dwyer you consult anymore. Suddenly you don't like Sam, no respect, you don't give a damn. Ever since you arrived, you don't care if you survive. Forgetting those who help you up, that's the way ingratitude stop. How did you get so, Mr. Timo? We want to know. How did you get so, Mr. Timo? We want to know. Kyssfm man, Sharon Rattan, I want to say thanks a million. You saved the country a lot of money. But we need answers. We need to know about the severance money. I have one simple question. Please, Timo, can you tell the nation about your severance money? Is it being managed responsibly? Cause I hear in a rumor about a certain fella and a former labor commissioner. Is it through that the quick action. From Sharon Rattan, save the country, 1.2 million. We want to know, Timo, we want to know why you protecting Andre Libotsto. We want to know, Timo, we want to know just how far are you willing to go to shield him from any attack? Have you pledged to have his back? Are you just protecting or saving your own skin? Some of the things I hear you would do, Mr. PM, I hope that ain't true. How did you get so, Mr. Timo? We want to know. How did you get so, Mr. Timo? We want to know. Why? Hey, somebody! We're asking hard questions. Remember, share the life, share the life, share the life. Hi, so Abonati Studio. Abonati.